Hey, Julie. Thanks for your time. I'm just curious, like, how did your first year in Chicago go? I mean, I know you came in halfway through, and that was challenging. But I mean, how did it go overall for you?
Hi. I think it's been tough. Cause I mean, I knew it before coming that being the backup of Sloot is not something easy. I knew it, but it was really something new for me because playing in Europe with the national team, I always have like 35 minutes of playing time. And so it was something new for me. So it was not easy, but I did like it. I did like the season because I've learned a lot from Sloot, but also from the other players. I know it was a great experience for me, and I can't wait now to be back overseas. I mean, it's not overseas for me, but be back with the national team, be back in France, because I want to like take this experience with me.
For sure. And one last quick thing. When we talked around the All-Star break, you mentioned that you were learning a lot from Courtney. Now that the season is over and you've gone against her in practice and everything, what is the number one thing that you learned from her that you are taking with you going back to France?
Her leadership on the court. Because she's not someone who's gonna talk a lot, but you know that she's here. She's here even if she's not talking. You know that she leads the example, and yeah, that's the thing. That's the first thing that comes in my mind.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Annie? Hey, Julie, thanks for your time. How did your conversation, your exit interview with James Wade go? What was his advice for you as you head overseas?
To grow up as a point guard. That my next thing is to be able to communicate more, to be more vocal, especially with the players we have in the team. Because I was like the rookie. I didn't like to talk like in front of them because I was like, no, they know what to do better than me. But James was like, no, because you're the point guard, so you know the game, so you know what the team needs to do. You know, yeah, you feel it. So he was like, that's the next step for you, like to be able to be a true leader on the court and outside of the court.
And then just one follow-up. We've talked in the past just about how you approach, your decision going overseas and then returning to the WNBA every year. So as you head overseas to play for the national team and then in France, how do you approach, your future in the WNBA next year specifically?
I still don't know. For the moment, I'm more like step by step. Because like I said before, I had a burnout this season. I mean, overseas in France. So you never know what's gonna happen. You never know how you will be, how you will feel. So I think now the good thing about this season is that I'm really hungry of playing basketball. I can't wait to play with the national team and to play overseas. So obviously that's a good thing. And I hope I will keep this and be able to come back next season.
Thank you so much, Julie. It was great to meet you this year.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Carly and then Mike.
Hey, Julie. This year, not only were you a rookie, but you also got to play with Emma in the WNBA. And we've talked to you guys, we've called you guys the Belgian connection all year. What was that like being able to have kind of a piece of home with you here in the WNBA this year? What was that whole friendship and everything like amplified in the WNBA?
That was amazing. I was so happy to have her and also Ann Waters. I think that now I can say that I really have a true relationship with Emma, and we didn't have that one before. Like we knew each other, but not that much because we've been always together. We've been eating always together. Like, yeah, so we've been doing a lot of things, and I'm so happy also because on the court we have that Belgian connection, but also outside of the court. And Emma is an amazing person, and I'm so happy that I was here with her. And so yeah.
And then just to follow up, looking back on this season, what is one thing that you would say you're proud of that you were able to accomplish or tick off this season, either with your game or something off the court, teammates, chemistry? What is one thing that looking back on this season that you're just really proud of accomplishing?
When Sloot had the concussion and I had to play and be in the starting five, I think I did my job. I think I did the job because we only lost one game. It was after the back-to-back in New York. So I think, and I felt more comfortable after on the court.
Thank you.
Mike Hughes.
You're welcome.
Hey, Julie, thanks for your time. First, I want to say it was an honor being able to speak with you this year. But for you, going into, overseas, or like you said, playing with your national team, when you look at this team moving forward, playing overseas this summer, what are you expecting to change about your game from something that you may have learned throughout the season, playing with so many different players and so many different play styles?
Like I said, the first thing is the leadership. And then I think that when we play here in the W, we play so fast, like it's so different than in Europe. So I think that I'm gonna try to bring that intensity, to bring that kind of game, because I like it. I like to play fast. I like to just feel the game, and I think something that I wasn't doing a lot over here because I didn't really want to make any mistake. As a point guard, when you go on the court, you don't want to make any mistakes. So I was not that aggressive. And I think that's something I like to do. Like most of the time, I like to be aggressive and go to the basket. And I think that's something I missed this summer. So that's something I want to doing again and be able to do it next season in the W.
Thanks, Julie.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for Julie? Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
Emma, a question. We'll go Eric Wilson, then Annie.
Hey, Emma, first off, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I just wanted to ask you if you could summarize this season, just what it meant to you and the impact that it's going to have on your future.
It's been a very interesting season. I think we had a lot of ups and downs, but throughout the whole season, you could see like the evolution, the chemistry growing of this team. We started off not complete for a while, and once we were together, it took a while to get used to each other, especially for me, like being new to the team, getting to know the players that I don't know, with Candice, Carl, because I knew Ali and Sloot already. I came here wanting change in my life, because I have to teach it. I hate change. And I think it was a very big challenge for me. As a person, I think I kind of got to know myself, how I handle change. It wasn't always easy, but I think this team really helped me in that part. So I think this season meant a lot for me, growing as a person, as a player, in terms of having confidence, how to handle different kind of stuff that gets thrown at you. And it paid off. I got to know a lot of great players. I learned a lot about basketball. I learned a lot about life. And I'm an all-star, even though it felt different because it was a change, and change was always negative for me. But we have a great season. We ended up second, could have been first. We went in semifinals, got all-star, and it was a good year, It didn't end the way we won, but I think this season is one of it meant a lot. I didn't process everything yet. I won't for a while probably because I don't have time. But I think this is gonna shape me in a different person.
Thank you, Emma.
Annie, and then James K.
Hey, Emma, what's the timeline for reporting to the national team?
I leave tomorrow at 4 something to Australia, to Sydney.
Okay.
We arrive Monday and then we practice.
Busy, nonstop. And then this off season, going back to a conversation you and I had, that it's just not something you think about quite yet. How do you approach the off season and being an unrestricted free agent? Sorry, what?
Don't call it an off season.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That was disrespectful of me. How do you approach this transition from the WNBA to your overseas obligations and, you know, your potential return to the WNBA next year?
I'm kind of person and player that gives everything to the team I'm in at the moment.
Mhm.
I hadn't thought about the World Championship or Turkey up until now. My next focus is the World Championship, obviously. And after that, it's Turkey. So I won't be thinking about next, well, summer or whenever I have to decide yet, because I don't think that's always fair to the team I'm in to be
Mhm.
thinking about the other team already. Because I want to be giving my 100% to that team, getting better as a player in the moment. So if you call me in a couple of months, maybe I have an answer to that.
Okay, great. I'll be sure to call you in a couple months. And then the
All right.
last quick one, as far as the WNBA goes, what are your thoughts on the prioritization rule and the way that impacts, you know, your opportunities, you know, in your overseas season?
As a European, I don't think that rule is very friendly for non-Americans. Like everybody likes to play home. I think that's one of the reasons that most American players would like to stay in America because it's home. But Europe is home for me, you know. Although I love playing in WNBA and it's the highest competition level possible. But I also like being a person that sees her family and friends and is actually home in Belgium for a little bit. But the fact that this rule is now in effect for us means that Turkey is going to shorten up their season, probably just in time for the season. So the usual break I would have, like I have 10 days after my last game with national team before I go to Turkey.
Yeah.
After the European season, I usually get 10 days as well, maybe 2 weeks if I'm lucky. But I won't have that. It's not it's not possible if I want to come to the WNBA. So I won't be seeing my mom, my dad, my brother, my friends if I would do that. So I don't know how I'm gonna handle it. Like I said, it's too far forward, but if you start thinking about it, because Turkey shortens the season, there's no Christmas break. I mean, it's not Christmas, but they usually have a break. Because I'm in national team, there's no national team breaks for me. So I don't know for European players, we're not robots, you know, and it's kind of not fair to take incomes. You have to support your players and not take incomes away, in my opinion. But I do see where they want to go with this rule. I understand, but I just don't think this is a moment to do it already. Because you don't give the same like you do in Europe. It's as simple as that. You take away a lot from a lot of players.
Well, I appreciate your insight. Great meeting you this year.
Welcome.
We'll go James K, then Carly Bell.
Hey, Emma, thanks for your time. Kind of piggybacking off of what Annie was just talking about with prioritization. I mean, have you, like, how hard has it been this year being away from your family for so long? I mean, I know you've had Anne and Julie here as a support system, especially, but how hard has that been? And is that something that's going to factor more into your decision down the road? I know that it's something you're not thinking about necessarily right now, but we caught you right before you're part of the national team. So thought I would ask.
It's been a long time this year. It's weird to say and it's not right to say, but because of the war in Russia, I was lucky to be home for a little bit before coming here, because otherwise it would have been even harder for me. I'm lucky my family came a little bit. And the fact that Julie and Anne were here, you know, brought a little bit from home to me, the home feeling, the family feeling. It's not the same, you know. And it's something that we sacrifice. We know that doing this, playing basketball at this level, it comes with that sacrifice. But I've been doing it for a very long time right now. And you start to realize that following my passion, it has that price, of not seeing your people. Every time I get back, everybody's older. My grandfather is 90, and yeah, he's 90. So I love him, but he can't come to America. He can't come to Turkey. So, it's something that it's worth thinking about. I'm about to be a godmother a couple of weeks.
Congrats.
So yeah, it's stuff everybody thinks about. Want to be home, but we have this passion for basketball, for this orange ball, and at this point, it's so bigger than everything else. Kind of selfish, but that's why we give up for it.
And I just wanted to follow up on one more quick thing. So just to clarify, are you saying that like Turkey, like your overseas team is shortening its season to make way for the prioritization role? I just wanted to, or like, are they anticipating
If I
WNBA?
got it right, I'm not 100% sure. I think so. You would have to ask Emre because he's gonna be coach and he knows more about the schedule. But I haven't looked into detail, but I think this is one of the countries that possibly did that. I'm not 100% sure. You have to look it up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you
Okay.
so much for your time. And again, it was so great covering you this year. So good luck.
Thank you.
Carly and then Mike Hughes.
Hey, Emma, I asked Julie this and I'm gonna ask you this, having that piece of home with you here in Julie, what was that creating that relationship like here, having you guys on the team for 3 months, spending every day together? What was it like kind of having a piece of home with you here in Chicago?
We've known each other for a long time now. We've been through a lot together too, like a lot of celebrations, but also heartbreak with the Olympics, and we got to know each other in different ways that way. But this is the first time I've been spending day in, day out with her. And I have known already for a long time. I've been more lucky than you all. What a great player she is, and what a great future she has in here. So just to be part of like this, her evolution and seeing her grow, seeing her learn from Courtney Vandersloot, the greatest point guard. It was just very exciting to see that, and I think the moments that she was on the court, she showed the maturity she has already, and also that she deserves to be here. So it kind of makes me proud, because I've been in this league for a way longer time than her, and I'm happy to share it with another Belgian in the same team. I think that's pretty unique, especially for Belgium, a small country. So I think we were close before, but this season made us, I think, closer for life. And together with Anne too, like we were close, but it's different because as players, there was an age difference, there's always different kind of groups. But now, like we were together and we pulled each other through this season because it was a long, hard, intensive season. And I'm very, very lucky that I had him here with me.
And then my last question is, Candace earlier this year said that you're the smartest player that she's ever played with, and that she learned a lot from your intelligence. What are some things that you picked up from Candace that you learned from her that you really want to apply heading into your overseas team, or just even if you want to take it off of the court, life lessons or things that you learned from her in this season?
I think I have a lot of room to grow as a leader, to bring that back to the national team. And I've seen what kind of leader she is. She finds the perfect words to inspire, to motivate. One thing she said, we still missed the opportunity, but she said that for a lot of people, it takes a long time to reach the finals. And that it took 7 years for her, and then 9 years, or I don't know the exact numbers again, but you have to seize opportunity because you never know when it comes again. And I don't know the exact words, but I know time. I was like, it's just maybe one or two thoughts that really inspired me to go play hard, motivate, and
Can everyone hear us okay? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
Yep, we can hear
sorry.
you.
We're on one of the last questions and then we'll go to Mike after. If you want to continue your statement, Emma, and then we'll go to Mike after.
what did I
About
remember?
Candace.
Candace, yeah. Yeah, and I think she sees the game in a different way than I do. So that was very interesting, like how invested she is in the game. And then I know she has like, where does she work again? How's that called?
Oh, TNT?
Like the analytics
Yeah,
stuff.
TNT, Turner.
Yeah. And I think I have to watch more film. I don't always like it, but if I see what it can, how fast you can adapt, how fast you can like read the different options, or like advise coaches to do something, or like come up with a different idea, I think that's very, very interesting. And what I love about basketball is like it's a game you read, like you literally like read the game. And I think watching film, being a good leader, it's the little stuff you can't always point out, but I think I learned a lot from her.
Last question, we'll go to Mike Hughes. Final question.
Hey, Emma, thanks for your time. I wanted to ask you, kind of piggyback off Carly Bell's question. When you play with so many individuals on this team that are regarded as some of the best at their position, like Candace, like Allie, like Ka, and obviously Sloot, when you look at that, outside of just leadership, going into this season, you were such a huge addition from a leadership standpoint and your game. But what is something that you look at far more than just leadership that you kind of took away from everybody's game?
That's a good question. I would say, like, once we got to really, get that chemistry, it's all about chemistry, really. Fighting each other, getting like, moving the ball, beautiful basketball, like we've been calling it. That's what makes the game so beautiful and so enjoyable for me, like reading the game, like I said. The beautiful basketball with this team was pretty good. I'm just sad we can't show more of it in the next few days, because it's there. But like the takeaway was competitiveness, greatness. We had the short players taking rebounds. We had the big players giving assists. We were, very versatile as a team. So you don't have to be restricted to your own position, the stereotypes, but everybody bringing different stuff, learning different stuff, builds a championship team. So you just have to be consistent, and we were not yesterday, unfortunately.
Thanks, Emma.
Welcome.
All right, thank you, Emma.
Thank you, everybody, for the season.
We have Rebecca here. Please raise your hand if you'd like to ask Rebecca a question. We'll start with Carly Bell.
Hey, Bex.
Hey.
I know we just spoke literally just a few days ago about reflecting on your season. But now knowing that, you're heading back overseas and going into an international career, what is something that you do want to take away just from this entire WNBA season and something that you really want to remember?
Something that I would say would be, I would just say, like, if this season has taught me anything, is kind of just to seize the moment. You never know when certain opportunities will come about. So when you do have the opportunity, you just have to like take full advantage of it. And I feel like I learned that in a few different ways this year. So that's definitely something I'll take moving forward.
And then, what was last night into today like for you mentally? What was kind of the realization of, all right, my first WNBA season is done. And, what was kind of that whole mindset like for you?
I would say it hasn't really sunken in that much, but I mean, it was difficult to sleep last night too. Like I watched the game and I saw like, the opportunities that we had, and it was tough, but I don't know. I think that like I said, it hasn't really sunken in. Everything is just moving so fast, but definitely yeah, I would just say sorry. I haven't even thought about it like but yeah, it's just tough to comprehend right now.
Thank you.
Eric Wilson, then James K.
Hey, Rebecca, appreciate your time and thank you for this season. I just wanted to ask you, what have you spoken to your teammates about? I know it's only been less than, 12 hours, maybe a little more, but what have you spoken to them about this season and what it meant to you?
After the game, there wasn't really a lot of talking, and I haven't seen many of them yet. But we all know, the chances we had to move on to the finals round, and like we just have to look back and kind of take what happened and just grow from it. I mean, we don't know if we'll get that opportunity again, but if it does come, like we'll have to take what happened this year and learn from it.
James K, then Mike Hughes.
Hey, Rebecca, thanks for your time. I just had a question about how prioritization, like the new prioritization rule in the W that's going to be instituted next year, is going to impact your availability for the WNBA season for next year. Do you want to play in the W next year after being such a huge part of this team and now being having that league-wide recognition? Is that something that you're thinking about right now?
I haven't thought about it, but I would love to continue playing in the WNBA. With the prioritization, I know that with rookie contracts, or like it doesn't apply to them. So I am playing in Spain, and I don't know the timing of the season or anything like that, but for the rookie contract situation, I think it doesn't apply to me, but even if I do miss, I don't think it'll be a lot, but hopefully I won't miss a lot.
Yeah, one thing that Emma was talking about about her season in Turkey, I believe, was she said that they're shortening their season. I mean, that she's not 100% sure about this, but they're kind of preparing for this prioritization rule.
Yeah.
Do you know if that's something that your team in Spain is also contemplating as, again, the league kind of enters this new phase of prioritization?
Yeah, actually, no, they're not. They're not looking to adjust. And actually,
my team can't find another American to come, and it's because they're not willing to adjust. So do think, and even in Spain in general, a lot of Americans aren't going. I think there might be like a lot of WNBA Americans aren't going. So I think that's going to change like the strength of the leagues. You know, Spain is usually one of the better leagues, but now we're going to see how it's going to turn out this year, and maybe they'll be willing to adjust because the level may go down.
Just one last quick thing. I mean, what's your opinion on prioritization? I mean, is this something that you're in favor of, or I mean, I'm just curious what your opinion is of this new rule.
I feel like it has like the prioritization it has good intentions, but I feel like it would be nice if the WNBA would work with FIBA to, like, in general, to work together, just because overseas does provide a lot better income. But I also kind of appreciate what the WNBA is trying to do because, you know, this is my first year playing year round, and I don't know how like Slew and Ali and Emma have done it for so long, because like if I would have known that I would feel like this, I probably wouldn't have signed my Girona contract. So yeah, that's what I feel about it.
Thanks, Rebecca, and good luck overseas. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We'll go Mike and then Annie.
Hey, Rebecca, thanks for your time. On your first day being a part of the Sky, you and I talked about how you were just trying to take advantage of every opportunity given to you. And obviously that's something you've been preaching throughout the entire season, just trying to make your mark in the W the same way you have overseas. Now that you're going into year 2, potentially, of playing in the WNBA, what are you looking at as far as, I know it's obviously way too early to be even thinking about it, but as far as a role and being solidified in this league, what are you really looking forward to going into year 2 from your game and your perspective of that?
Yeah, I feel like this year, I was kind of, you know, it's my first year, so I wasn't probably as comfortable as I would normally be, or maybe some of the other players, but um I'm just looking forward to being more of myself. I had a great season, but I just know like what I'm capable of, and I'm definitely looking forward to, you know, going back to Girona and getting back to like my normal self, and then bringing that here next year. So I'm really excited and looking forward to that.
Thanks, Rebecca. Best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll end with Annie.
Hey, Becca.
Hey.
Curious what your schedule is like from here. Do you leave for Spain immediately, or do you have any time off?
Well, I'm not supposed to have any time off, really. I'm supposed to have 72 hours, but I'm working with my agent to get a little bit more time and let my body rest, because there's a few things that, you know, after playing for a year, that have been bothering me, just little things, but things that can be fixed with a little bit of recovery time. So yeah, hopefully I can go home to LA for a couple weeks, and then our first game in Girona is October 3rd.
Any specific injury or anything that you could share
No.
directly?
No, it's not anything specific. I think it's just like not being able to rest, like
Yeah.
like and then even like rebuilding my strength, you know, playing so much is hard to maintain that the strength to prevent injuries. So that's something that's important, especially when I'm going to start a whole new season. So I want to remain healthy throughout that season too. So
And then how do you all kind of make peace with this moment? I know coming in, obviously the expectations were very high, and you know, just like that, it comes to an end for everyone. So as professional athletes in this moment, how do you move on from it? How do you make peace with it? Or maybe you don't.
I mean, it's tough to do that, because I know Candace was telling us, like, you know, you don't know how often these opportunities come along. Like she even said it had been, since her first year, it had took her 8 years to get back to the finals. Or so I mean, honestly, that's a great question. This is my first time experiencing it, so I feel like maybe I should like talk to some of the older players and see how they deal with it. And then go from there. Because I feel like right now I can't tell you.
My last one for you is just, what was James's message to you after your first year with the Sky? I know he's spoken a lot about what your future, what he hopes your future is with the Sky. So what was the message as you head overseas?
Well, he'll be over there too. So I think he's about like an hour and a half from me. So he just said we'll keep in touch, and he's definitely proud with how the first season went, and then he's just looking forward, to seeing me in the WNBA in the future. So, and playing and elevating my game as well. So yeah, that's really about it. It was joy working together.
Thanks so much, Becca. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Any more questions for Rebecca? All right, thank you. Hi, everyone. We're gonna a little bit changing schedule. We have Kalia Copper here. I see some hand raised, so we'll start with questions with Annie and then James.
Hey, Kalia.
Hey.
My first question is just how quickly are you leaving for Vegas for national team camp? Are you still heading out there?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then processing this one, I can't imagine the processing of it. So I gotta ask, just how do you make peace with game 5?
I don't know. I think it still hasn't like really like sunk in yet. It's a tough one. I'm just like, wow. I'm like walking around like it's time to pack. Like you're just not ready for this. So I'm just trying to process everything and figure out my next move.
I know that from our conversation in August, you're not heading overseas, but what is your opinion of the prioritization rule? And did that impact your decision not to go overseas, or was this just about rest or something else?
I think this year for me was a good time to rest. Coming off the championship run and then going to Spain and having a long, a successful year. And then this season, I anticipated winning another championship. So I anticipated it being another long season. So to do 1, 2, 3 back to back, I thought it was just important to just take some time to rest. And I want to do, I'll be home. So I just decided that rest was the most important.
And then last one, your exit, interview or conversation with James. How much did you guys talk about game 5, or was it talking about the future?
I haven't met with James yet.
Okay. Thanks, Ka.
Mm-hmm. James K.
Hey, Ka, thanks for your time. When you reflect back on this season, I mean, what's the biggest thing that you're taking away from what was a successful year, even though despite what happened last night?
I just think that, when you have an opportunity to do something special, that you just gotta take advantage of it, stay in the moment and really just like seize the opportunity when you have it, because as fast as it's coming is as fast as it's going. So I just think that you learn, you live and you learn.
In terms of your off season, I mean, I know you just talked about rest, but is there anything else that you're doing that you could share with us just about whether that's training or anything else that you got going on?
Oh, I'm gonna get after it for sure. Gonna get a lot better. And I'm gonna be working with the league. So I think you guys will see me, but I'm gonna get after it for sure.
Sorry, cut out there a little bit, but did you say that you're going to be working with the league?
Yeah, I'll be doing some stuff with the league.
Anything that you can share with us on that front by chance?
I don't think so. I don't know if I was even supposed to. Yeah, no, I don't think so. But I'll be doing some. I'll be around. You'll see me for sure.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ka. Appreciate you.
Eric Wilson.
Hey, Ka. As always, I appreciate you. And I guess I'm 0-2 on Nothing But Kinks. I owe you a couple for a couple past birthdays. But I wanted to ask you, based on everything that you said, how much more involvement are you going to have with your girls' camp during this off season?
So we usually only do it in the summer. Haven't really expanded to like tournaments and things like that. It's definitely something that I want to do, but it won't be too much going on with my camp in this off season. You know, the kids also will be in school, so right now I'm still kind of on a smaller scale, kind of just doing it during the summer. But maybe in the coming years, we'll have some like back to school tournaments and things like that.
Got you. And a real quick follow up: after you've processed all this and you realize, okay, this is where we coulda, shoulda, woulda, but we're at this point. What is one of the first things that you're going to focus on as far as elevating to that next level?
It's a good question. I got a lot of things I want to work on, so can't really pinpoint like one thing, but I'm gonna definitely get back to you on that for sure. Like even if I gotta write you, but I can't just pinpoint one thing. It's like got a lot of things I want to work on. A lot of things I want to get better at.
Fair enough. You got the number. I'm gonna holler at you.
All right, see you.
Thanks, Eric. We'll go to Carly Bell.
Hey, Ka. I just got one. Last season was the championship season and you came up short this year. But the growth that we've seen just from 2021 into 2022 from you personally has been kind of phenomenal. When you look back on just these last two seasons, where do you see that you saw that growth really start to kick into gear for you? Where do you feel that you kind of stepped into that next level for you to have such an unbelievable 2022?
I think the consistency. I think it's hard to be consistent. You gotta bring it every single day when you have a team that's dependent on you. And I think that's important when you want to be a great player. You have to be consistent. So I think that I was just most proud of me being consistent and being somebody that the team could really depend on just to bring it every single night.
And then I'm sorry, I got one last follow-up. Leadership has been a big thing that has been just echoed throughout this whole team this year. What are some things that you learned from in this season specifically that you want to take and apply to your own leadership roles, both on and off the court?
I think just being even more vocal. I think I'm fairly vocal, more lead by example, but a little vocal, but I think that I could be more, much more vocal.
Thank you.
Christina Williams.
Hey, it's Christina with Girls Talk Sports TV. You mentioned earlier that you made the decision to stay home in the off season. A few WNBA players last year, they joined Athletes Unlimited to continue playing. Do you plan on kind of exploring that as an opportunity while you stay home?
No, I don't think I'll do it, but I think it's a great league, and I think that last year was amazing to see the coverage and to see how successful it was for its first season. But I don't think I'll be a part of it.
Mike Hughes.
Hey, Ka, appreciate your time. To not get too forward into next season and free agency, but having this understanding that the roster may look a lot different next year. What's What's a part of what you've learned from Sloot and Allie and Candace that, whether they're here or not, that you're always going to have a part of your game?
I think they're great leaders. And they all led in different ways, different manners. But I like the competitors that they were. I like the leaders that they were. The very different leaders, like I said, and I just think they were great people. I think outside of everything, we had good people here on our team, and that's what made us so special.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate your time.
Last two, we'll go to Christos, then Annie for the final question.
Hello, Cal. Hope you're doing well, first of all. How the way that the Sky ended the season motivates you to get better from personal standpoint?
I think just not ending the way that I wanted the season to end. And I'm a big competitor, so I'm just gonna take this off season, watch some games and be able to see how teams were defending me and just things that I can get better at. And it's just gonna just motivate and just fuel me for next season.
And where would you like to set the bar for next season?
I think we have championship culture here, period. So I think it's just maintaining that level of how we do things and just how we do it from how we set the tone from day one.
Thank you very much.
Final question, we'll go to Annie.
You're the most veteran player under contract next year. How is that going to impact your off season in every way? And the way you have conversations with James, the way you approach the future of this organization, and the way this organization essentially builds around you.
I actually didn't know that. But wow, that's interesting. I guess that changes things, huh? I have to, go into this off season and just really get better. Work on my leadership, work on how I'm gonna approach next season and how I'm gonna be able to be that vet now. I laugh and joke and I call him old, but it's me now. So I think I have to, really reflect and really get ready during this off season and really take advantage of it, especially of me being home. And I think that, like you said, just communicating with James, I think we have to keep it airtight and really just lock in and focus on next year.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Thank you, Kalia. We'll start with Mike and then we'll go to Annie.
Hey, Sloot, appreciate your time. When you look back on not only your career, and obviously this isn't goodbyes, but this is just looking back right now. Looking back on your career with Fowles and obviously Elena and going on to Candace and company, what can you really put into words on what the 2022 season sat at and where you would say all time playing for the Sky that would really place?
Well, in terms of our roster, the group that we had, this was a special group and one of the best that I think to ever play for the Sky. I mean, obviously, you know, us winning the most games in history doesn't even tell the whole story. You know, I think what we had put together is special, and obviously we came up a little bit short. But you know, this is a really special year for us to all commit and come back after, you know, we kind of made a historical run last year, and to kind of just try and run it back and do it together. You know, this one has a special place in my heart.
Thanks, Luke.
Annie?
Hey, Courtney. First, just have you had a chance to talk to James, do your exit interview with James, or has that not happened yet?
I just came from there, actually.
So I only ask because that's my follow-up. How much did you talk about Game 5, or is it about the future, or neither?
We did not talk about Game 5. I think it's a little too soon. You know, it's just kind of how it is with these things, but to really talk about and digest, you know, less than 24 hours later, the emotions are still high. You know, we're still really hurt from last night. So yeah, we didn't talk about that. We talked about the season in general, what we think we could have improved on, what went wrong, what went great, you know, all of the things.
How quickly do you leave for Hungary?
I don't know yet. You know, I think it's a discussion I need to have with, you know, the team, the agents. I don't know.
And then there's a lot of decisions that need to be made this off season. How do you approach going into that? Obviously there's a lot of time before those decisions need to be made, but how do you approach the off season?
You know, I'm gonna approach it like I did last season. You know, of course, I'm a free agent, and I'll have these conversations with my family. I'll have them with Chicago Sky, and of course, Allie, and we'll make the best decision for us.
And then lastly, prioritization is obviously a big thing coming up this next season. How do you feel about that rule? You shared a little bit in the past, but now that it's here, now that it's going to impact the W this coming season, what are your thoughts on this rule?
Yeah, you know, it's frustrating. It's frustrating that we have to even like think about this, or this having to play such a big factor in our decisions. You know, I've made a good amount of money overseas during my career. You know, I've spoken a lot about how much this has helped my career in terms of my success individually and, you know, on a WNBA roster. So, you know, I hate that we have to decide. You know, that's the reason I signed a 1 year, obviously. And it's just, you know, something that we have to deal with, and I'm hoping that there's a solution. I'm still holding out on, you know, the WNBA coming up with a solution, because I don't think we're there yet.
Thanks, Courtney.
Eric Wilson?
Court, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. First off, I want to say thank you to you and Allie, because I know last year there was a lot of talk of whether the two of you were going to come back. So thank you for coming back and giving us the season that you gave us. You know, when you were in the bubble, I asked you at the end of that season, what was next for Courtney Vandersloot? And you told me you were Sky for life. So you signed a 1 year deal, and you know I'm going to ask you.
I don't remember saying that.
Okay, I got receipts, Court. I got receipts. Come on now. So, I mean, I got to ask you, you know, given everything that lay in front of you, given the fact that both you and Allie are going to have those difficult conversations, what's next?
You know, Eric, I wish I could give you an answer. I really do. There was a good part of me that thought I wouldn't be back last year. And here I was, you know. Obviously Chicago Sky is really important to me, and it's all I've ever known. You know, and that's not something I take lightly. Anybody that knows me loyalty is something that's so important to me, and the Chicago Sky has been loyal to me, and I have returned that favor. You know, I'm going to make the decision that makes the most sense at the time. and they will definitely be in the running. But I really don't know what's next. I really don't. It's too soon. I'm still thinking about last night.
All right, fair enough. Could you at least just give a brother a call and let me know? And if this is the last time you've played Chicago Sky basketball, can I just say thank you? Because it has been amazing to watch you, and you are still the point god. That's all that needs to be said.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric. James K.
Hey, Courtney. Out of
Hey.
curiosity, when you talk about holding out hope for figuring out this whole prioritization thing that I know a lot of people are still trying to navigate, one thing that has come up is a new TV deal. And I'm not sure like how much thought you've given that, or this is something that players are talking about in terms of generating different ideas of how to, I know it's not your job to think about revenue, but is there anything that do you have any opinions on like a new TV deal, or just things that you all as players talk about in terms of like what you would want to see from a revenue standpoint to make sure that prioritization doesn't, stampede on what you're doing overseas?
It's just a little bit above my pay grade. It's not really, not really something I've at this point really think about much. Obviously, I think that we have an amazing product that needs to be on TV, and that I think that we've proved in the last couple of years that if you put us on TV, people watch, and then they come out to the games and they love us, and it's not up for debate anymore. So I'm hoping the dollars come in because we deserve it. And, I hope that is something that happens for the league in terms of prioritization and how that affects that. Like I said, that's just, I'm just making the best decision I can for my career. Maybe a later on conversation for me.
For sure. And just one last thing. When you look back at your career here, I mean, my God, you've broken almost every record here. I mean, what is the thing that you're most proud of when you look back, coming in 2011 and where you're at right now, sitting in that room?
I think the thing I'm most proud of is that we built something that people wanted to come see and people enjoyed. The amount of like support that the city has given us the last few years, and this year especially, we crumbled in the fourth quarter, and our fans are up showing us nothing but absolute love, and it hasn't always been like that. I've been here a long time, and we had to earn it, and I appreciate it now even more. But yeah, that's like really special to me, and that's why we stayed here. That's why me and Allie committed to being here, is because we wanted to build something as special as that. And I think last night was really telling, just feeling that love from them when, they could have booed us off the floor, but they didn't. And I'm really proud of that, what we built here.
Thanks, Courtney, for your time this year and beyond that. So good luck overseas.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
We'll wrap it up with Carly Bell and then Annie with the final question.
Hey, Sloot. When we spoke to Julie earlier, she said that, you were her guide, for this year being a point guard, and you taught her a lot. And then yesterday you said a lot of these younger players taught you something. What is it that Julie taught you this year as you kind of guided her in learning this offense and being a new point guard here?
Well, I think Julie has it. I feel like point guards are a rare breed, just because it's almost like a dying breed, kind of. We emphasize scoring so much, but she really has that point guard mentality. And I have such an appreciation for that. She's team first. She wants to just get people involved. I think that she probably could have played more minutes, but was okay with her role. And I think, that's something that I just really admired about her, is that she was just willing to just whatever the team needed at the time and never complained or wanted anything different. That's what those are the teammates you want on your team. And Julie is the epitome of that. She's an incredible teammate. She's an incredible player. She's going to have a really long and successful career. And you know, I'm happy that we got to share this season together for sure.
And then, you know, last year to this year, we saw a Courtney Vandersloot that loved to flex a little bit and had a little bit of some nice little swag on the court this year. What would you attribute that, I don't want to say confidence growth because the confidence is there, but just being a little bit more vocal and wanting to show and showcase that, you know, you are, as Eric said, the point guard on the Chicago Sky?
You know, it helps when you're winning games. You know, I've never been one out to, if it's all about winning. So if you're not winning games, then you're not showboating or showing anything. You know, when we're out there and we're doing what it takes to win games, it's a little bit easier to, you know, exude that kind of confidence or whatever, flexing or whatever you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, it's about having winning seasons, and I think that's what you saw.
And then my final question is, you know, just from last year to this year, we saw a level of growth in this team. Maybe it didn't show in getting into the finals, but there was a lot of growth. You guys really wanted to attack a regular season and come out on top. What would you pinpoint for you personally was when you saw the growth in you in this season compared to last year? Where did you see that you hit a new level of elevation in the regular season that we didn't see last year?
I think our ability to win games in the fourth quarter, and me specifically just being able to make plays for us to win games down the stretch. It hasn't always been the case. You know, we were in a lot of games last year that we could have won, but we lost. And we were in a lot of games this year that we could have lost, but we won. And that's growth right there, I think. And that's when you could tell the difference. The biggest difference between last year is our ability to win close games.
Thank you so much.
Final question, then we'll let Courtney go to Annie.
So you talked about this being one of the best teams ever, you know, this guy's ever put together. Given that, how do you all make peace with last night's game and the way that this title defending season had to come to a close?
Well, I'll let you know when I do, because I'm definitely not there yet. But you know, I think I kind of talked about it a little bit in the press conference last night. Was, yeah, it didn't end the way we wanted it to, but it wasn't for lack of trying. It wasn't for lack of commitment. We gave everything we had. You know, sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way, and that's sports. We had 10 bad minutes. I mean, and we could have won that game. We were in control of that game. We didn't make shots. We didn't make plays. I didn't make plays that I had been making all season. You know, if a couple shots drop, maybe we're talking about a different, now we're going to the finals, you know, we're talking about, you know, that's just the way it is. So we're not going to get hung up on that. There's been plenty of great teams that haven't ended up on top in the history of sports. And so, you know, as hard as it is right now to accept that, it doesn't take away with what we put together this season.
And Carly, I'm sorry for this, but Sloot, you had a moment, you were walking off the court, you paused to wave to the fans. I just have to ask, you know, what was that moment for you?
Emotional, you know, it's hard. Cause the unknown, but I just felt so much love and because I know they supported us and through everything, through it all. I mean, through the terrible seasons and you know, our season ticket holders that have been there from the beginning, even the people that came on late. I mean, they truly loved us and wanted us to win, and we wanted nothing more to do that for them. You know, we obviously fell up short, but you know, I just wanted to show my appreciation to them and how much like they inspire us, and you know, just kind of wanted to return the love, because I play every night, you know, I go out there and I give it all, and a lot of it has to do with them.
Thanks, Sloot. Sorry, Carly.
It's okay. Thank you, Courtney. All right, we have Allie here. We'll go ahead and start with Annie and then James K second.
Hey, Allie, how does that conversation go with James following game 5, your exit interview with him?
After such a tough loss, it's just kind of like, shock, and it's hard to really assess things and like dive too deep into things. So I think there'll be another conversation, but it was quick, and just talked about how we had a great season, and yeah, it just wasn't like the typical exit meeting. It's just things are just too fresh.
And there's a ton up in the air this offseason. You're an unrestricted free agent. How do you approach it? When do you start making decisions? When do you start considering, the next step for yourself?
Probably in a couple weeks. Just take some time now to just recover mentally, physically, and just be with family, and just try to be happy for a little while, and then kind of get to that in a couple weeks, I would say.
And then you haven't signed with a team overseas. Is that gonna stay the same? Do you have plans to play overseas this off season? Or I guess
Yeah,
this
I didn't have plans, especially for the first couple months. I think I did 14 years straight overseas, so I kind of had it planned this year that I wouldn't be going overseas. Just needed a break from that. Just wanted to be home in America and with family.
And then lastly, how do you make peace with last night's game, given the way, the fourth quarter went and the team that was constructed this year to go for back-to-back titles?
I mean, the only way, I guess, is to just know that I gave everything I had. I feel like I was just playing really hard. Sometimes it doesn't go the way you want it to go. You can feel it happening, and it's just hard to stop it, But the only piece I can have is that I gave everything I had, and it just the shots didn't go in for me. It's unfortunate, but every team feels like this. 11 teams feel like this at the end of the season, and most of the times in a 14-year career, you're going to feel like this a lot. It's just part of it. So, I mean, obviously it sucks to lose in that way, having it be like history made with, just the last couple minutes, but a loss is a loss, and the season ending is a season ending. So it's tough, but I know that, we were a couple minutes away from going to a finals, which is really hard to do, especially back to back. I know there's a lot we can still be proud of, and how well we played this year.
Thanks, Allie.
You're welcome.
James K, then Eric.
Hey, Allie, I'm sorry if you just answered this, but my connection broke up over Zoom. In terms of playing overseas next year, I know that Courtney is playing for Hungary, and just given that you both could qualify as domestic players over there, if you were to play overseas, would you play in Hungary, just given that dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, Hungary's always been some place that I know I can play. Just having the passport, and earlier in my career, I played there for 3 years, so I have good relationships with a lot of people there. So, but I don't think I'm going to be playing overseas this year. It's just something I decided, but you never know after a couple months off.
Okay, yeah, for sure. And just one last thing. I mean, I know it's hard to reflect just given this, the season just ended last night, but what do you think your legacy is in Chicago? I mean, it's hard to talk about Chicagoland basketball without uttering your name. So, I mean, what do you think it is? If you don't mind sharing that with us.
I would just say
hard work, belief. I don't think anyone probably thought that I would stick around this long, even myself at times. Obviously a legacy of bringing our first championship to Chicago, for the Sky, and helping build something that people wanted to be a part of. People wanted to come play here, play with us. Just to watch the fan growth over the last couple of years, it was such a joy to play in front of the fans. I'll never forget those feelings last year and this year of just the full crowd, and just how much they came out for us. And I think that's like one of the biggest things, just to bring that excitement to Chicago and just be a part of that.
Just one last quick thing. I mean, is there anything in your career that you wanted to achieve that you didn't quite get to? I mean, it's hard to imagine that being the case given all that you've achieved, but is there anything that you feel like is still there that you wish you had achieved?
No, I think the championship was the biggest thing. Everything else that came along with it, whether it was, all-stars or 6 women or 3-point things, like it was just icing on the cake. I never came in thinking like, oh, I want to be an all-star, like I just wanted to make the team. So everything was just kind of like, I just took it as it came. And, as my years went on and I kind of started playing more and feeling like I belonged more, like obviously the championship was something I really wanted to be a part of. So that's something I'll never forget. And that's definitely what I'm most proud of.
Thanks, Sally, for your time this season and beyond that as well. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys too for everything.
Eric Wilson.
Quigs. I thanked Court, so I'm thanking you as well. Thank you for coming back this last season. I know that was a conversation the two of you had. It's so hard to really kind of put it towards the last 3 seasons and watching this team go from where you were to where you are. But just in a small sense, if you could you kind of just tell me, I asked Court and she really couldn't give me an answer, but what's next for Allie Quigley?
What's next? I don't know, really, just family time right now. Just enjoying life. Not saying that I didn't enjoy life overseas for the last 14 years, but you miss out on a lot of things. So it's just about, I think, enjoying life here in the States, just being around family. That's what's next. Obviously basketball is going to be, close to me, and still got to make some decisions. So, yeah, but for now, it's just about family and enjoying the United States.
I appreciate it, and I'll echo my same sentiment. Thank you so much for giving Skytown another year of the Vanderquigs. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. It was our honor for sure.
We'll go Mike, and then we'll end with Carly Bell.
Hey, Allie, appreciate your time. Obviously, you spoke about not wanting to play overseas this year and not trying to say that this is your reasoning, but throughout this year, I've been speaking with a lot of individuals, especially American-born players, whether it's the males or the females. It's a big part of it is players not really wanting to go over there this year. How much of it do you think is a part of BG and her situation?
I don't know. I think definitely not wanting to go to Russia is a huge part. Well, people don't want to go over there, but I don't know exactly. I'm not sure how much. I can't really speak for why people don't want to go over this year, but for me, it's just, like I said, the 14 years already over there. I think obviously the opportunities here in the States are growing a little bit more with the opportunities that the teams are providing, to make some kind of money staying. So I think maybe that's why. On top of that, the market overseas is, kind of getting a little bit smaller too. So it could be a combination of a lot, but I don't know exactly why people aren't going over as much.
Thanks, Allie. I appreciate everything this season.
Thank you so much too.
We'll end with Carly.
Hey, Allie. First off, if you and Courtney both echoed love and sentiment towards the fans. So if you had to give a statement, if this is your last year in Chicago, what is something that you would want the fans to know about you and about anything that you want to just echo to them and make sure that they're aware of?
I would just say, like, thank you for growing with me, sticking by me through, the ups and downs, and
just experiencing this championship together and just the growth of this franchise together. I would just say thank you, and we couldn't have done it without you, honestly. The fans won games for us sometimes, so I think that they were a huge part of our success, and it's just an amazing experience to have that with them and finally be in like full gyms.
And then I know this year didn't end the way that you guys wanted, but you guys did have an unbelievable regular season, checked off a lot of the goals that you wanted to do from last year to this year. What is a moment that sticks out to you in the regular season that you really saw your peak growth from last season to this year?
I would just say the halfway point of, being in the Commissioner's Cup game and just having that consistency. The main thing we wanted going from last year to this year was to have a consistent regular season. Obviously being 16-16 the year before, we wanted to just have a more stable regular season and continue to get better and show that we were one of the best team in the league all year long and not just at the end. So I think that midway point was a big highlight for us.
Thank you, Allie.
Thank you, Allie.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we have Candace here. Can we limit it to 2 questions each? And then if we have time, we'll come back for a third. We'll start with Mike Hughes.
Hey, Candace, appreciate your time and everything you've done for me and the ASAP network throughout the season and just the league as a whole. For you, and especially being in Chicago, I've witnessed, a lot of individuals not getting the opportunity to have somebody to look up to and someone to admire. And for you to be able to do that for your hometown on such a huge level, not only in the WNBA, but for the Chicago Sky, can you kind of put into terms what that's meant for you?
It means a great deal. I mean, just to see the way the city has really done a good job of just embracing the Chicago Sky and, in our success, especially last year and then, in the regular season this year, the games that, you come to and Wintrust is, filled, hosting the cup, then turn around and hosting, then getting All-Star. I think it just means a lot to me because I know, growing up, basketball is so important to me in the Chicagoland area. And so to be able to kind of be a part of that and see the growth and, see people like myself coming to games and being WNBA fans means a lot.
And Candace, one last question for you. Will we be seeing you with Chuck and Shaq again this off season?
Yeah, you'll be seeing me on opening night. I'll be in San Francisco. Yeah, I'm gonna be back in studio.
That's great. They definitely need you. Candace, appreciate you again.
Appreciate it.
We'll go Eric Wilson. Again, one question and a follow-up only, please.
Candace, first off, thank you for what you've done these last 2 seasons in elevating this team to where it is. I guess my question simply is, on top of everything that's already on your plate, is there, you say you never cheat the game, is there one more year left in Candace Parker or several years left in Candace Parker to come back and do this again?
So here's the thing, I'm very calm, cool, and collected and calculated when I make my decisions. And I've always said it's never going to be an emotional decision. It's never going to be, one of those things. It's going to be one of those things where when I know I can't prepare to play or I can't be at a certain level to play, I'll know in that moment. And I haven't even started thinking about next year or preparing for next year. So when that happens, I think I'll know. And, either I'll play or I won't. But at the same time, I'm just grateful for the opportunity that I've had to be able to play, as many years as I have in the league already, but also to, be able to come to this franchise and play with the type of players that I've been able to play with.
Appreciate it, Candace. Again, thank you.
No problem.
Annie?
I'm done now.
Candace, have you rewatched Game 5, and how do you guys make peace with that one?
You don't, and I don't. Like, I don't think you can make peace. I still ain't made peace with Sophia Young's backboard shot my rookie year. So I'm definitely not to the point of making peace with a game that happened last night. It's crazy because my brother and I the other day were just talking about like what emotion feels greater, the emotion of winning or the emotion of losing. And for me, I can remember the time, the place, the shot, the plays, the defensive breakdowns, the whatever of every single loss. And after we won my first championship in LA, I remember feeling this like emotional hangover of like, I thought it would feel better. I just keep feeling like I want to do this again. It's not like it just, and so I think that's how it is, it sucks. I hate losing. I hate especially losing to Connecticut. But at the end of the day, I mean, it happened, and that's not going to be something that I think I make peace with for a while.
And when you signed with Chicago, you said if you were going to leave LA, you were going to come to Chicago. So if you are back next year, is it safe to assume it would be with LA or Chicago?
And you hitting us with the great questions today.
I don't know when I'm going to talk to you again, so I gotta ask.
No, I'm cool with it. I'm always cool with that. Honestly, I don't know. I'm at a point now where it's like the wounds are fresh, the loss is fresh. I always said I would never leave LA, so it's one of those things where it's like I'm at a point now where like when I make promises or when I say things, I truly intend on doing it. I want to make sure that I'm in a space. I don't even know if I'm going to be playing or what's going to happen. So, and I remember years ago when I was like, I will never play overseas again. And then I was like, okay. So, stuff changes, things happens, everything is fresh. Do I love the organization? Yes. Do I love the people part of the organization? Yes. Do I love the city? Do I love playing in front of my parents and my family and my friends? Yes. So like I said, that decision will come, in time.
Got it. Thanks, Candace.
No problem.
We'll go 2 more and then Candace has to go. We'll go with James K and then Carly.
Hey, Candace, thanks for your time.
No problem.
So one of the things that has come up over the last year is just a lot of talk about the prioritization rule. And like you just said, you're someone that had a lot of experience playing overseas, just trying to supplement income and just, stay in shape. But I'm curious, like, what is your opinion on this rule that's, it does impact a good portion of WNBA players? What's your opinion on this?
To be honest, I think we came a long way in the CBA, but we still have far to go. I get what the league is trying to do. However, WNBA was my summer job. Like overseas is how, my daughter's in private school now, how we're able to be in the house that we're in. that was my job. That was my main source of income. And I wouldn't be able to do the things I do today without that. And so with that being said, the WNBA is going to have to up their game in the salaries, because, you know, if you were asking me to choose at that point in time, you know, especially given a rookie salary, or, you know, if you have somebody that is, you know, just in terms of in a league of their own, in terms of, you know, playing on that first team all WNBA level, and you get offered a contract overseas that's, you know, 15, 16 times what you're making in the WNBA, I mean, I don't know many people that would turn that down. So I think, you know, it's going to be interesting how the WNBA handles that. Now, given the situation that Russia's now out of the equation, you know, that wasn't foreseen in negotiations, but I mean, you know, I don't want the league to be without a superstar, because I think the league is built around those superstars, and it's going to be very difficult if something like that happens for them to say no.
So thank you.
Carly Bell, last one.
Candace, we've talked a lot about your leadership and everything that you've taught these younger players on the team. However, what are some things that these younger players have taught you in these 2 years here, especially playing with Kalia? It seems like you guys have a sisterly bond that is unmatched.
Yeah, I think it's the joy and the innocence, you know, in terms of like when you're going through stuff, it kind of reminds you, you know, I've done this. This is my 15th year of doing training camp and regular season game and game number 27. And you're just like lacing up your shoes and you're going to practice, and you don't realize like the joy of it, you know, and like you get out of the, you know, the monotony of the day when you see somebody that's doing it for the first time, or, you know, you're able to play with players that have the joy of playing basketball. And so I think for me, it's just my teammates give me like so much joy, and, you know, the camaraderie that we have, but also like seeing them, like the work that they put in and the time that they put in outside of the mandatory 2 hours that we're here at practice. So I think they've taught me to continue to work, because, you know, I don't want to fall behind. So I think they've kept me on my toes in terms of what I have to do to be ready to play.
All right. Thanks, Carly. Thanks, Candace.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Question. We will start with Carly Bell and then go to James K.
Izzy, first off, if you had to just reflect on this season as a whole, how would you sum up this season and everything that you guys, I know you didn't end the proper way you wanted, but just everything that you guys did this year?
Yeah, I think coming off of winning, obviously, for us to be able to finish second was pretty cool. And, you know, we had sort of a new group. We had some returners, a good amount of returners, but we added some pieces who were pretty big that were new. And I think we all, you know, gelled together as best as we could in a season. And I think there's a lot of different things throughout the season that we were able to accomplish that, you know, don't make this season a complete loss, but obviously we didn't end the way that we wanted to. So just kind of puts a damper on things.
And then, you know, especially with just your career as a whole, this from last year to this year, it's been an unbelievable amount of growth. If you had to choose, if you had to pinpoint something, a point at this year or in the season where you saw you achieve that next level, you hit that next level, if you had to pinpoint it to either a game or a time in the season, what would that point be?
I think just from the beginning of the year, I really came back from, you know, last year and overseas, just wanting to play more confident. And I think like everybody could see that. I think there was flashes of it last year. I shot the ball, you know, well last year, but I think this year I just made my presence more known, and I'm most proud of myself for that, because I've always been able to do it. I just didn't play as confident last year, at least in my mind, I felt that way. And so I think for throughout the most of the season, I can't think of specific games, but I just think in general, like adapting to a new role and all of that, I was able to still make my presence known and help my team the best way I could. So yeah,
Thank you, Z.
thank you.
James K.
Hey, Ezra, thanks for your time. As you're about to like head overseas, I'm just kind of curious, like, how do you feel about the prioritization rule that's going to be implemented at the start of the 2023 WNBA season?
I don't think it's super great for the players. I think some places overseas have sort of adapted to that, so that's really nice. But I just think it kind of sucks for some of the players that have to decide, you know, how they're going to moving forward, what they're going to do, how they're going to sort of try to do both. I mean, it's no secret, a lot of us make a lot more money overseas than we do here. So, I mean, everybody's going to have to make their own personal decision, I think, moving forward, and it'll just be interesting to see like how that all plays out.
Sure. And you know, heading into this off season, I believe you're an unrestricted free agent for the first time in your career. I believe that is the case, but I mean, heading into this process, again, where you can kind of pick the place you want to go. I mean, what is your whether that's either re-signing with the Sky or somewhere else, just like what are you prioritizing heading into this free agency period, if you can even think that far ahead right now?
To be honest, I haven't thought about it much. I'm still sort of obviously processing us finishing the way we did, and yeah, I don't know. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it. Just been a whirlwind of a season, so I'll spend some time at home, regroup, you know, meet with my agent, and we'll kind of go from there. But right now, I don't really have an answer on that.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, and good luck overseas. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Eric Wilson.
Hey Z, first off, you know, thank you for this season. It's been amazing to watch you continually grow. Just wanted to ask you, you know, over the last 3 seasons, from the bubble till last year winning the championship till this year, you know, physically, mentally, how have you grown, and what is the one thing that you continually, you know, you tell yourself, you know, I used to be here, but I'm better now because I'm here?
Whew, yeah, I think the first season was pretty awesome for me. I felt just really welcomed with this team, this organization, especially the type of year it was outside of basketball, coming into Chicago, leaving Dallas. Like, it was just kind of a lot, and I felt the love immediately. And then last year was special because it was my first year in the city, actually, to be able to, you know, see fans, meet fans, etc. And then obviously we won last year, which was incredible. Just, you know, dealing with all of that, and then this year, I think mentally I grew the most. I think the first season, like, I had the knee injury, and that was just hard for me. Like, it was just a hard year, ending that way, because I was playing pretty well in the bubble. And then I think last year, I was able to come back in my first year back, and we were able to win, and it was awesome, and I was a huge part of it. But mentally, I didn't really feel like myself, and that was really hard for me as a player. And this is the year, I think, where mentally I can say I've grown the most. Obviously, we didn't win. We didn't end the way that, like, I would have wanted, but mentally I feel so much better than I did last year. And that's hard to say because we won last year. But I think mentally, just being here, I've been able to grow a lot mentally. I've had a lot of challenges being here, just with my injuries and everything. And I've been able to kind of experience a lot here, which has been awesome. I've been able to learn from a lot of great veterans. Obviously, Candace coming last year was really huge. That was awesome. So I think I grew a lot just from being able to watch her and learn from her. And having Sloot and Allie for the past 3 years, I mean, we've been able to really create a bond and get to know each other a lot. And so I think I've grown in a lot of ways being here. Mentally, I would say the most, but and I think through that, it was able to show just with what I did on the court. Because I think I did pretty solid like the first year and last year as well. But I just think this year I just played more confident, and I think everyone was able to see that. And that can only be accredited to my mentals. Like I just grew a lot mentally this season.
Appreciate it, Z. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to Annie.
Hey, Azure. I'm curious how your conversation that, your exit interview with James Wade goes. Do you talk about the game? Do you talk about the future, or do you talk about the season as a whole?
I mean, I think exit interviews, you just sort of touch on everything. You look back and evaluate how the whole season went, ways that things can be improved with the organization, the coaching, that's sort of how it went last year. It was kind of just like talking through the whole season and ways that we could have gotten better, anything that he could improve on, the coaches could improve on, and then you just go from there. So, yeah.
And this year obviously was a significant year for so many reasons, but considering you personally and you're entering this off season as an unrestricted free agent, the way you played this year, was that on your mind throughout the year? Was that, an extra emphasis in any way in certain areas that you improved, or did you not consider that throughout the year?
I mean, I did consider it. Obviously, going into this year, I knew like I was going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. But the first things first is just doing everything I could to help my team, and that's always the priority going into every season. So I mean, I don't know. I think for me, I didn't really think of it much during the season because I was so focused on winning and trying to repeat. And so that's sort of where I think most of my efforts and energy were poured into. And like I told James, like I haven't really thought of, the future and what that holds yet. So we'll see what the offseason brings.
And then lastly, I've asked your teammates this as well, but that game 5, the way it ends, how do you move on from that? How do you separate yourself from that? Do you watch the game again? Do you throw it in the trash and just move on, period? Like, how do you make peace with that game?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll watch it at some point. But I'm more of a doer. The only thing that can be done now is moving forward and continuing to get better on my game and work on my craft. So there's nothing left to do about it, honestly. I'm sure I will watch it at some point, but it's just time to get back in the gym and rest a little bit, but get back in the gym and honestly get ready for overseas.
And how quickly do you leave to head overseas?
I leave in October. I leave the beginning of October. So
okay. Thanks, Azure.
Thank you.
Last one, we'll go to Mike Hughes. Last one.
Hey Z, appreciate your time. I just spoke with Ka about what playing with Allie and Courtney and Candace have meant for her, and how she's going to be able to take that into the future of her career. And for you to kind of, piggyback off that and take that into consideration when you look at, the future, whether it's with Chicago or not, how are you going to be able to keep them on the court with you spiritually rather than physically?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a loaded question because there's so many things that you learn from playing with veterans like them. A lot of it is just observing, I did a lot of observing from a lot of them, but, with all 3 of them, I feel like I built a relationship with them and was able to pick their brains here and there, and just get insight from them on a lot of different things because, they have a lot of experience and they're great players as well as having all that experience. And so there's just so many things, but just the way they approach the game and each of them in their own way, the ways they were able to dominate and still, play good basketball at this level is just something that, I want for myself as I continue on in my career. And it's something I'll take with me for sure.
Thank you, Z. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Azure. Hi, everyone. We have Dana here. Please raise your hand if you'd like to ask Dana a question. We will start with Eric Wilson.
Hey, Dana, appreciate you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. So I know it's not the expectation that you all may have put on yourself to do back-to-back, but what's next for Dana Evans as you move forward, lining yourself up for next season?
Well, for me, it's just getting better. Obviously, I want to come back a better player, just ready to compete and do what I need to do to move forward. I want to be on the court. I want to show what I can do. I want to be a factor. I don't want to just, be a cheerleader on the bench. I want to be in the game. I want to play.
Okay, and forgive me for not knowing, are you going overseas and playing overseas?
Yes, I'm going to Turkey to play.
When are you leaving?
Leave September 19th.
Okay, safe travels, and we look forward to seeing you back. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to Annie and then James K.
Hey, Dana, you say you want to be a factor, and we've seen you be a factor. So it's not about wanting, we've seen it. Next year, there's a lot of changes that are coming to this roster. How confident are you in the fact of you being a factor next season, being a guard that leads this team next season?
Well, I think that's all depends on me as well. Just coming into training camp or whenever I can arrive and showing what I can do and just showing that I've gotten better, because every year I expect myself to get better, whether that's just being a better shooter, being a better passer. And there's things in my game that I know I want to clean up and get better at. I hear a lot of talks about, oh, she's not a point guard, which I really will never understand the whole point guard thing, because you see Chelsea Gray, she's a really great point guard, but she puts the ball in the basket as well. So I will never really understand the talks about being a real point guard. I mean, I guess that has something to do with my size, but then that won't stop me. I just know I just got to come back better.
And these exit interviews that you guys are having with Coach, is that something that you discussed with him, just you being a factor next season on this team?
Yes, we talked about it. We're gonna figure this out, and I'll be ready for whatever my role is. But I know my role next year, I want to be on that court. I want to showcase what I can do. I want to be able to help this team. I know I can.
I appreciate it, Dana. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We'll go to James K next.
Hey, Dana, thanks for your time. When you talk about improving, I mean, I think you have showed that you can be a combo guard in this league. But like when you talk about making improvements, like what's the thing that sticks out to you about wanting to improve, like specifically?
Specifically, I would say becoming a better passer. I would say just setting them up in positions to be better. I think I can pass the ball well, but a lot of people don't. So that's just another thing that I just got to show people, because I always usually have that chip on my shoulder and remember what people say and what people say I can't do, or she can't do this and she can't do that. And I just always prove them wrong. So for me, it's just becoming a better point guard and putting people in better positions to succeed, I would say.
When you say that, I mean, is it like reading the floor, or is that just like like reading the floor, or something else, like making those passes? Like, can you just expand on that a little bit? I'm sorry.
I would just say okay, well, as a point guard, you want to have a package. You want to have a few plays in your mind where, okay, I know I want to get Emma a shot here, making sure I run the right set for her to get her shot there. I know Z likes corner threes. Let's run a set for Z to get a nice open corner three, and not just be specifically about scoring, because I know I can do that. I know I can put the ball in the basket, but now how can I set my teammates up to be better? How can I put them in better situations to succeed? Also, like, for example, Kai is a great driver. How can I get her off of a chin action, get into the rim? Just stuff like that, I think I can clean up. And I learned a lot from Sloot within these past 2 years. It's obviously been a blessing being able to watch her
I like how she knows exactly what plays that she wants to put certain people in. Certain people aren't the best at fadeaway jump shots like Emma is. That's what she do, and that's what Candace do. Obviously, you wouldn't put somebody else in that position that don't do that. So for me, it's just being able to put them in positions to be successful, knowing the plays like the back of my hand, and being a point guard.
Thanks, Dana. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Jason Palmer. You're muted.
I can't hear you, sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Hi, Dana. Just a quick question. Your contrast, your first year, come in, you win the championship. Second year, now you exit this painful loss. I just want to hear your personal emotions from this time last year, you're hoisting the trophy and dancing in Grant Park, to last night's loss.
It's tough. I mean, obviously it's not what we wanted. It's not what we expected. It sucks, right? It just do. But now you got to move forward. Life goes on. It doesn't stop. You got to go back in that gym and grind even harder. You just remember those plays that you could have been better. You just remember the things that people did, the taunting and little things. It's just, that's what you remember when you go in the gym and you put that work in. So for me, it's just another reminder that I need to get better. We need to get better. So that's kind of how I take it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll finish with Noah. Please unmute.
Hi. I know coming into the year, you kind of talked about wanting to make that next step. And when you got opportunities, you kind of did show you have what it takes. Where did you think you maybe did showcase taking that next step in growth, and where do you think you maybe have to go? I know you kind of touched on the passing aspect.
I'm sorry. Can you ask that one more time? I couldn't really understand.
Sorry. Basically, when you had those opportunities, did you feel like you did kind of show growth in your game and show that you belonged? And, what about your game?
Oh yeah, I think I did. I think at the beginning of the year, I showed what I can do, and I showed that I'm capable of doing these things in the league. And I felt like I belong, because obviously as a rookie, it's hard. You second guess yourself and you're doubting and stuff like that. But me being able to do what I did in the first couple games as well, when I got a chance to start and I showcased what I can do, it was really refreshing for me. And it was good, because I just feel like now I belong. Now I know I can do this, and it's just a confidence booster as well.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
Please raise your hand on Zoom if you'd like to ask Ruthie a question. We'll go ahead and start with Annie.
Hey, Ruthie. How did your conversation go with James in the exit interview? What's the focus of the conversation following game 5?
It went well, I think, just focusing on what to do better for next year, what to focus on overseas.
There's a lot of, or this is a transitional period for this guy. There's a lot of unrestricted free agents, and Dana talked about, wanting to be a factor next season. And there's a ton of potential for you guys to be the future of this franchise. Is that a heavy consideration for you going into the off season?
Definitely, I always want to do more, do better for Chicago. So focusing on what I can do better overseas, so I can come back here and apply that and just become, a bigger factor next year.
And when do you leave for Hungary?
10 days.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
We'll go to James K and then Eric Wilson. James?
Hey, Ruthie. When you talk about wanting to get better, I mean, what does that entail? If you can share that with us.
Yeah, I mean, kind of just focusing on being myself, being the post player I know I can be, being more physical, just doing the little things that I know I can do that I've done in the past.
Can you lay down some of those for us?
Just rebounding, screening, just being quick on my feet.
Yeah. Is there anything that James talked to you about in terms of that he wants to see you improve on it all, and just expectations heading into this offseason and beyond that?
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about, the posts that I was coming out of college and just that kind of thing and just what I want to be. And I think he was really good at just listening, and we work together and focusing in the future and what I can work on in Hungary, which is, shooting, becoming a faster post player, and just being aggressive and confident.
Thank you.
Eric Wilson.
Hey, Ruthie, as always, I appreciate you. I just wanted to ask you, could you take me through the last couple of years and where you see yourself as far as growth and maturity now coming into a time frame where, the prioritization rule is in effect and how that affects you as well?
Yeah, I think the last couple of years I've been really blessed to be on a team with so many great players and coaches, and just trying to learn from them, soak it up on and off the court. And what was the second question?
The prioritization rule.
Yeah, just, it sucks, getting money taken away and just focusing on that. But I think just hopefully being able to play both seasons and just being better for overseas and for WNBA.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any more questions for Ruthie? All right, thank you. We'll have James Wade up next. All right, here's GM head coach James Wade. We'll start with Annie and then we'll go to Eric Wilson.
Hey, James, how you doing?
And
We had a conversation a few days ago or maybe a week ago, or actually it was after you won Executive of the Year, so a few weeks ago, and you said that you like the dual role because you have your best interest in mind always. And so in this dual role in this moment, how does James Wade, the GM, assess and critique James Wade, the coach, after last night's game?
I mean, I'm still taking it all in. I think it was some things that, we teeter with all that stuff all year long. So it's a lot to kind of analyze. I mean, I don't think that I critique myself like, I don't know, as a separate person. So, we got, after watching the game, I mean, we got to a point where we had a lot of buckets that we could have made and we just didn't. And hindsight is always 20/20. So you say, hey, I could have did this better. I could have did that better, but it's just a part of coaching duties to make decisions and just roll with them. So one thing that I pride myself on is just being courageous and just going with what I think is best. And after, I can't look back. So I understand why, I did things or, and it's just the way it is.
And then this off season, there's a lot that's going to take place. You're once again faced with multiple unrestricted free agents.
Mm-hmm.
How do you approach, re-signing some of these players? Last year, it was, about going for back-to-back titles. And this year you don't have that same, chip to sell. So how do you approach that?
I guess by trying to go for 2 out of 3.
All right, that's it for me. Thank you.
Eric Wilson.
Coach, as always, I appreciate your time. Can you just kind of take me through the last 3 years from the bubble to winning the chip to this year? You always talk about being in the moment and never looking too far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But to kind of piggyback off of what Annie said, now this is the time in your, as a GM, as a head coach, where you have to begin searching for that talent while also keeping a core group together.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a, challenging job when you have to put together a team and figure out what's, what went wrong or what went right and how you're going to build off of it. And it's a challenge that, I signed up for and that I'm excited about. I think everybody looks at our roster and says, hey, they always look at us when they look at the teams that have free agents and say, wow, what are they going to do? But we have money. Like, I look at it in a different light. I look at it as that we have money and we can actually construct a great roster because we have available roster spots. And I think that's how you have to look at it. And so this way we get to put together a team and just take our time and try to make pieces match somewhat like we did this past year, because people looked at us in 2021 at this same time and said they're in trouble. But we ended up having a good team. And so the challenge is for me to do it again, and I'll be ready for it.
And how long, as a quick follow-up, Coach, how long are you here for before you go back over to France?
I'm here for a little while. I'll be here for a few weeks, I guess. Just want to make sure that everything is, I'm situated here, and then I'll go back and be soccer dad and for a little bit before I have to head back and do some recruiting and scouting and stuff like that. And then I'll come back again and be soccer dad again. And, so a few weeks.
Coach, as always, I appreciate you. And I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Eric, man. Likewise.
James K.
Hey, Coach. I know we've been kind of bugging you a little bit about this all season, but prioritization. I know that you know we were going to ask about it. Um, you know, we've just talking with some of the players today. They've expressed some of their frustrations with it, and I'm just curious from your end, who has experience from both overseas and here. I mean, what do you make of this new function of, I guess, new age of the WNBA with this new rule?
I mean, it's challenging because it forces players to have to make decisions, and this is, I guess, an agreement that the WNBPA came up with, Players Association came up with the league, and so it's going to leave a whole bunch of challenges. I'm just trying to do my part and trying to make our team the best team possible. And then I know prioritization is going to play a big part in the flexibility that we have going forward. So I just have to create around it. But it's nothing really I can comment on. The rule is what the rule is. I just have to be as flexible and as I guess creative as I can be around the rule with that. Yeah.
And just like reflecting on the season for a second, and I know, you didn't get the end result that you wanted, but I mean, just being able to piece this team together is an achievement of itself, and getting as far as you did is an achievement of itself. I mean, do you find any pride in that, even despite, again, the end result from yesterday?
Maybe next year. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. To be as competitive as we was, especially in a league like this, is tough, man. So to be one game away from the finals is, I guess you could say, it's an accomplishment, but nothing that I'm going to take solace in, especially not right now. Maybe you catch me during a losing season in 20 years or whatever, then I'll be like, I remember that time we made it to the finals, but right now it's just not the case.
For sure, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Carly Bell.
Hey, Coach. I know when you won the Executive of the Year, you didn't really want to think about it or acknowledge it at that point, but now we're at the end of the season, getting that honor and the honors that you've had over the last, especially this season, winning Coach of the Month twice, and then you won Coach of the Year in 2019, Executive of the Year. Has it hit you yet on the impact that you've had in an executive role and also a head coaching role in the WNBA?
Not yet. It's weird because the stuff has kind of gone by like really fast. But I've been so like focused on our team and trying to win that it hasn't. And I feel like if you take time out to relax, and appreciate it, you kind of get complacent. And it may not be the case, but I just don't want to risk that. So I haven't really taken the time out to think it. I'm aware of everything that we've accomplished as an organization in the last 4 years and how we've built this thing. And but I'm more focused on the people, like the players and the staff that is around, and making sure that everybody understands how important they are to us and how important they are to me personally. And that, I think that's the thing. That's the most important thing. So when it's all said and done, maybe. But right now, I don't have like the energy to add that part into it. I just want to be a good coach, and I want to make sure the players are feeling good. I want to make sure the staff is feeling good. And then I just want to be a good family man, and I try not to think about the other stuff.
And then, we obviously don't know what this team is going to look like next year, but there is a possibility that some of those vets could not return. And you've talked a lot about the impact that you wanted to have on them, but just coaching Candace and Allie and Sloot and all the others, what type of impact have they had on you as a coach, as a person, as an executive, like both on and off the floor? What type of impact have they made on you?
They've been really instrumental in a lot of my accomplishments as a basketball coach. They've been instrumental in a lot of my growth also as a basketball coach. And because have to mix the professional with the personal. They've been a big part of my growth as a person too. And so, I'm forever grateful to them, and I'm forever grateful to the rest of the team as well. Like, we had our exit meetings today, and I was just really excited to see them in a different kind of environment away from us losing and making sure they were okay. But just hearing, their thoughts and how they felt is always something that I'll never take for granted, and I'll always appreciate. So no, I'm forever grateful for them. And anytime that I get with them going forward or in the past will be and has been very special.
And then I'm sorry, I just got one more question. What is soccer dad Coach Wade? I mean, what is why you said you wanted to be a soccer dad? What does soccer dad Coach Wade look like? What kind of environment are we gonna see?
I don't know anything about soccer, but well, they're gonna ask some of the parents to like come and like set up the field and carry the balls and stuff like that. And I'm just a little village, and it's nice and close to the water, and we just go to the soccer field, and I'm just the American dad, that's over there doing stuff. They know I'm a basketball coach, but they don't know the depth of it, and nobody treats me any different. And I'm like, just a foreign dude, and clapping up, telling my son to run harder or make sure he's aggressive from the sidelines. Like, that's it, So it's going to be fun. It has been fun for the last couple of years. I've been doing that, and it's like the best thing. It's the best thing because it's so like carefree and careless, and so it's cool.
Thank you so much, Coach.
You welcome.
Jason Palmer.
Coach Jay, I did my podcast this morning, and one of the interesting things was that what you all and the young ladies have accomplished are the expectations here in Chicago. You've carved out a fan base that wasn't here 3 or 4 years ago, and the fans this morning were truly hurt that the Sky lost. And I've never experienced that my entire career covering the Sky. Talk a little bit about the fan base this year. You had over 8,000 people there last night, and just what you all have been able to do this year in terms of connecting with this fan base that you've now created.
Man, it felt so, like my heart was so heavy leaving the gym yesterday. I couldn't look up. I heard like all the support that was screaming out, telling us that they loved us and they're proud of us. But that was probably one of the hardest walks that I've ever had to make, because we feel the pride. Like when I got here in 2018, a lot of people didn't know me when they saw me on the street. And so now it went from 2018, a lot of people didn't know me maskless. And now people recognize me even with a mask on. And they come up to me and they want pictures, and I'm not even talking about in McCormick Place. I'm talking about around Chicago, and people telling us that they support us and they're with us, man. You want to do everything you can to actually make them proud. And so that's why it was like hard, because I thought we had a chance to actually win it. And and we just want to make them proud, man. I'm doing everything I can, and the players are doing everything they can they know what Chicago means to them, and we try to represent it as best we can.
And just a quick follow-up, how do you think you've grown as a coach after this past season?
I think that I'm always evolving. Coaching a great team that has expectations. You try to. I think I'm more adaptable to different environments. I think I'm more empowering to players, especially to help them feel more involved. And it's some things that I have to always evaluate at the end of the season. Okay, what did I do well, or what? And I'm still in that process right now, or things that I have to do better. I pride myself on not always coming back the same. And so and that's just something that I'm going to do. I'm going to give this thing 110% of me, and you know, I'm going to be better. And I don't know what I have to improve on as far as just putting it into words, but I know it's a lot of things that I have to really lock down on. I just have to evaluate, okay, what didn't we do well? What did we do well? And how could I help the situation that we didn't do well? And how can I help us be more consistent? And how can I help us finish a game 5? You know, like those are the things I have to evaluate. And you know, I have a good, you know, keen ability on doing those things. So
Appreciate your time, Coach Jay, and please don't yell at the referees over in France.
All
Leave them
right.
soccer refs alone, man.
yeah, I wouldn't know what to say anyway.
Okay, Coach.
Thank you.
We'll circle back around to Annie.
James, I'm curious, when you have 2 players who have openly spoken about considering retirement, and Allie and Candace, how do you approach that as a GM? Do you like just say, hey, let me know when you guys decide, or are you trying to sell them on coming back? Like never quitting, never retiring, playing for 100 more years?
Of course, you don't want players to retire, especially like this, you know, especially 2 players that have given you so much. So, but out of respect for them, I know it's a personal decision. So I try to respect their time frame, and you know, I understand that, you know, these situations and these things are really much more than basketball related, you know. And so I'm just a small piece in it. So I try not to influence them one way or the other, and just try to be there for them, and understand, and just be open-minded to anything, but let them know that the Chicago Sky is, you know, the last uniform that we want them to play in, and really let them know how much they mean to us as a player or as a retired player.
Thanks, James. I appreciate it.
Last one, we'll go to Eric Wilson. Last one.
Coach, I just wanted to ask you this, and forgive me if I get a little personal, but I feel I can ask this question to you. You know, as a Black man in your situation, is there a sense of accomplishment that you have seen since taking over this role? And if so, would you mind sharing just a little bit of that with us?
Ooh. I mean, yeah, I'm not blind to the fact that, you know, when I took this job, you know, they were coming off not making the playoffs, and hiring assistant coaches, it's just risky, man. Like, it's risky to hire assistant coach. And so I had my ideas, and I had really strong beliefs in what it took to take a winner. And, you know, I just need buy-in. That's the only thing I need. If you give me buy-in, 100% buy-in, the results are going to speak for themselves. And feel like, you know, winning coach of the year, and then 2 years later winning the championship, and a year later winning executive of the year, it's accomplishments in that. And I think a lot of people would be over the moon, but it's just me, man. I'm not satisfied, and I don't take anything for granted, but I just feel like I have so much more to give to the game. And yeah, I just, you know, I know that there's something there, but I just have a lot more to give. And I'm just looking forward to next year.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Any more questions for Coach? Thank you, James.